Take a look at this. NHL executive dating back to 1987. He's been a GM as well as a president of hockey operations, also a Stanley Cup champion back in 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks, 2010 Olympic silver medalist as the GM of Team USA. And you can put something else on that resume as well, the newest member of the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, class of 2023. Brian Burke, nice enough to join us right now. Burkey, first things first, congratulations on the latest honor. Look, we just took a look at your hockey resume, and it's hard to match what you've accomplished in this sport. Where does this most recent honor kind of stack up for you?
Well, I think being an American kid, it's huge to me. I take great pride in this latest honor because I was an American born and raised. But I think Stu knows a little bit of my background. I didn't start playing hockey till I was 13. So I moved to Minnesota when I was 12, started playing hockey at 13. And all of the success I've had is because of USA Hockey people that encouraged me and supported me. So I'm very proud of this honor.
You know, we asked your fellow inductee, Brian Murphy, yesterday, Berkey, you know, even for officials and players will sing this refrain frequently. The game, we owe the game everything. I suspect that's true in your life as well.
Everything for sure. And I want to mention, Murph, the officials will be the least recognized guys in every induction ceremony. If you have one referee, one linesman, everyone will talk about it, all the players and everyone else but him. But Murph was a great official. He was an NHL referee for a while. He was a linesman for thousands of games, Stanley Cup finals, top official. I was their boss for 5 years. I handled their assignments. I could put Brian Murphy in a game anywhere. Didn't matter how intense it was, how high the tension was, didn't matter. Awesome guy. But yeah, the game has given me everything. I have 6 kids. 2 are in university now. They'll graduate from school debt-free like the 4 older kids did. They've traveled the globe. I've traveled the globe. Awesome. The NHL's given us all of that.
As we mentioned, you've kind of done it all. Agent, GM, you've worked for the league as an executive, also been on our side of the fence as a broadcaster. Which of those ones was maybe the toughest for you?
Well, the problem with being a GM is the other teams try to beat you. They're very selfish. They try and draft players that are better than yours. They try and make trades to beat you. It's a very selfish group. So it's full-time competition. You wake up thinking of ways to beat teams. You go to bed thinking of ways to beat teams. It's nonstop competition. So the GM side's a little bit easy. That's Marcus Naslund there.
Yeah.
That's Ron Hextall, obviously. What a great guy he is. But it was being in the fight all the time is the most fun part of it, but it's the most stressful part of it too. You know, everyone else, it's a win or a loss. You're going home saying, are we ever going to win again?
You know, Berkey, as you look back over your managerial career, the ability to put together a transaction and draft the Sedin twins back-to-back while GM of the Vancouver Canucks, is there a transaction that you look back that really had more significance, was more unique than that one for you?
I'm not sure there's ever been a transaction more unique because of the fact that identical twins, come on, that right there makes it hard. Picking 2 and 3, no one ever picks 2nd and 3rd in the draft. So it was, I don't think there's any more unique. I think people overlook one trade that I think was very significant that people don't talk about much, was drafting Chris Pronger. And in 1993, we had the 6th pick overall, traded up to 2 and took Chris Pronger, who obviously was a first ballot Hall of Famer. So I'd say those would be the 2 trades that most people remember. But I don't think that people will ever remember the Twins because it all happened on the floor. I don't know if you remember, Stu. Yeah. It happened on the floor. Like we were all doing that right before we went up and made the trade.
Yeah, remarkable. It really was remarkable. And to hear some of the sound, you know, the conversation that went into pulling off, to orchestrating that transaction, it was fun. Thanks for letting us behind the curtain there.
I want to talk about your newest role as the executive director of the newly formed PWHL Players Association. How did that all come together, and what is your role now going forward with that league and those players?
Well, I'm really excited about this. Thank you. I was hoping we were going to talk about this too. So I'm really excited about this. I've been a fan of women's hockey since Nagano, since 25 years now. And I've been involved in the women's game. I've been a supporter. I've been a season ticket holder. And the women know that it's not some passing fancy, where it's very fashionable now to say, oh, I support women's hockey. Well, Most people don't, and they haven't, and I have, and that's been my background. So when I got a chance, when they first asked me about interviewing for the job here, I went through the first interview and I was really humbled by it, I was touched by it, like I was flattered. Like a chance, like you think of all the things I've had a chance to do, and I get a chance to work with the women. Like most guys will never get that chance. So I got this chance to work with the women. I grabbed it. I burst into tears when they offered me the job. I thought it was a second interview. Big tough guy like Stu and Berkey, right? I'm crying with a bunch of women on the phone. I was so touched. I thought it was a second interview. So I had my tie on like I always do, untied. And I'm all ready for the second interview. And they said, we'd like to offer you the job. And I was overcome. So to me, it's a dream at this point in my life that a guy with my experience can get to do this job and work with this talented group of women. I'm thinking I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
You know, Berkey, as I look across your resume, the one thing that jumps off the page to me, here's a guy that loves a challenge. Case in point, you are first year in Anaheim, you took that group to the third round, lost to Edmonton. The next year, you won the Stanley Cup championship. Just 2 years later, you resigned from that position and you took on what I think any GM, any hockey person would say, the most challenging seat in all the business. You're the GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Talk about what went into that transaction. Talk about why you leave a seemingly great situation to take on one that's really a political, never mind, you know, hockey transactional challenge.
Yeah, you know what, Stu? You got one fact wrong, which is I didn't resign. I was fired.
Oh, you were?
I was done. It was done very gently. And no, Stu has it right by and large. Basically, I signed a 4-year deal when I went to Anaheim. I was going to do my 4 years. But then I told ownership there, the Samuelis, after we won the Cup my second year, I was commuting to see my children in Boston every other weekend. That whole time in Vancouver and Anaheim, I was flying back to see my children every other weekend. So imagine every other weekend on your own dime. No one paid for my flights. Ken King did in Calgary, the late, great Ken King did, but all the rest of them, I had to pay my own way to go see my kids. And it was killing me. And I told them at the end of 4 years, I'm going to step back and go somewhere else. It wasn't to go to Toronto or anything else. And then the Samuelis, Dr. Samuelis said, well, if you're not going to be here full time and stay for a number of years, then we want to bring on our own guy. I said, as long as it's Bob Murray, I'll step aside. So that's how that all happened. But you're right. It was, people have asked me, why'd you give up such a good situation to go there? It was all family.
Wow, didn't know that. Heck of a commute too, huh?
Yeah.
Coast to coast on that one. Berkey, we'll get you out on this one. Look, congratulations, as we mentioned off the top. You're going into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2023. We know the induction ceremony is coming up in early December, I believe. And in those speeches, there's a lot of thanks given out. Have you given thought to what that speech may look like and who you're going to thank in your speech?
I know two people I'm not going to mention more than once, Eddie Olchuk and Mike Modano, because I went to both of their induction ceremonies, and 27 people had birthdays during those two speeches. So I got to make sure mine are shorter. I'm going to be a lot shorter than those two. And I'm going to thank, I tell you what, I got some family members to thank and people that helped me on the way up, but a lot of thanks for USA Hockey and all they did for me.
Well, thanks for you for taking a couple of minutes to join us here on NHL Tonight. Congratulations on that honor, as well as good luck in your new role with the PWHL. We appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.